The younger years, you should get the technique beautifully solid and clean. I talk about cleaning a lot, cleaning the technique, and it's just a shame. You have all these, basically, you have all these kids. Like I'm a dad. I have 4 kids, and you have all these kids out there across the country. They're all aspiring to be better and better players, and we're giving the majority of them, especially in the U.S., we're giving the majority of those kids really shoddy skills, like shoddy tools or outdated tools, very, very ineffective tools. And so, just from a philosophical point of view, it's a shame that these kids are not achieving their full potential, writ large. Basically because they don't have very good technique, they don't have very good movement. They don't, then they make, and they're being given some questionable tactical advice, just basic things. And I think that's kind of a shame. Why does it have to be like that? If the whole country taught technique and tactics a little better, a little more modern, a little more cutting edge, I'm sure we would have better players. That's not the reason we don't have. That's not the reason at the top level. Like the top level is okay. Those kids usually get the better coaching. But I'm talking more like from a broad base, like all across the country, the young kids at the grassroots level, all those kids could be taught much, much better. And then you have the level of tennis in the whole country would be much, much higher. I'm reminded of maybe how Spain does it, or how France does it. I feel like the level of technique, for example, in France, across the country on a broad based level, on the grassroots level, you see the way players swing the racket and move is exceptional. It's very, very high. Like I've noticed that from French players. I've had French coaches who work for me, and I've studied in France, not as much as Spain, but I followed that. And in Spain, they're not as technical as in France, but they do a good job, especially with the movement. As you guys know, in Spain, the movement, they teach players to move beautifully and very well. And although they're not as technical as in France, for example, the players, because their movement is really good, if there are some little issues with the swing, um, it can be worked. You can work with that. But I think because they have such good, all the players around Spain move very well, are taught movement very well. It helps grow the level of the tennis players in that country. But a little different than, excuse me, a little different than in France, where I think they do even a better job with technique, like the swings. But Spain has the whole grassroots, at the grassroots broad based level, everyone is moving really well, and everyone learns some important. They teach techniques, some important techniques, and how to play the game. In Spain, all the players learn how to play the game very well tactically, I think, in line with the modern game. So you see that in Spain. You see the really good technical base that I'm talking about across the border in France. So if you look to Europe, I think those are sort of the benchmarks for me that I'm comparing when I come back here to the U.S. And why can't we do a better job here? I don't understand. Why in the U.S. do we have to teach in such an old-fashioned way to the majority of kids?